What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got some new Grand Star Alliance cards we need to be talking about from the upcoming Mass Mutation expansion of Keyforge. We got 4 new, in fact. So I figured, right, well, let's do a little bit of a video, shall we? Let's chuck these 4 cards in, let's see what we get, and let's go in alphabetical order because it's as good an order as any. And let's start off taking a look at Access Denied. Now, it is an upgrade that gives you an amber bonus, yay, and reads this creature cannot reap. Yeah, this is one of those upgrades you do not want to put on your own creature. For fairly obvious. I mean, maybe if you've got a creature with a reap skill that you really don't want to use, so I showed you Cinder, sorry, and that's got a reap skill that destroys a friendly creature, so maybe you put it on Cinder to remind yourself not to reap. It's not something you're going to do very often, if I'm honest with you. This is for your opponent. This is to try and make sure that your opponent isn't going to be reaping. Now, it might just be that they have a creature and you just want to stop them reaping. But it might be that they've got a really nice reap skill and you're trying to stop them doing so. So a classic example of this would be something like Drummernaut. When you play or fight or reap, you return a friendly giant creature to your hand. So then, of course, you combine that with Ganger Chieftain, whereby when you play it, you ready and fight with a neighbouring creature. But if you cannot fight if there's no valid targets, then instead you reap. And the Drummernaut Ganger Chieftain combo is basically built around clearing your opponent's board and then constantly reaping to put Ganger Chieftain in your hand and then playing it to activate Drummernaut and then reaping and so on and so forth. Just playing this down onto a Drummernaut could stop them entirely. Or it could be something along the lines of a Professor Sutterkin, for instance. We don't have a set list for Mass Mutation, alright? So we're at that stage of reveals where I'm just showing you examples. Don't know if these cards are going to be in the set. Don't know if they're not going to be in the set. We have no way of knowing. We don't have a set list. These are purely just examples. When we do have a full set list, then I can be a little bit more specific. There we go. Now, Professor Sutterkin, when you reap, you draw a card for each friendly Logos creature. That can get pretty big pretty quickly. And there's only a 2-power creature with no elusive. You'll probably be able to destroy it, but if you can't, boom, whack this on, stop them reaping. I love Access Denied. Getting an amber bonus is awesome, but being able to stop your opponent reaping, you could be stopping a really good reap skill, or it could just be that they need to reap 4 times next turn to forge a key. So you put this on one of them, now they can only reap 3 times. Gutted, you ain't forging a key. Speaking of upgrades, how about Blast Shielding? It is another upgrade. Remember, the Star Alliance love their upgrades. It's kind of their thing. And it gives you an amber bonus. And amber bonuses, remember, are huge for Transporter Platform. Transporter Platform lets you put a creature and all upgrades attached to it into your hand. Usually you would lose the upgrades. They'd get discarded, but Transporter Platform specifically says you get to keep them. And if you've got amber bonuses, you can just attach them all, Transporter Platform, reattach them all, so they essentially have double amber bonuses. That's pretty sweet. Blast Shielding gives you +2 armor, which is fine, but that's nothing we haven't seen before. Little bit of extra armor, woo, it's not the be-all and end-all. But after this creature is used, its controller may attach Blast Shielding to one of this creature's neighbors. Oh. Yeah, that's actually really good. Because what this allows you to do is always have it for the creature that needs it. So you might not have a creature that's on the board that really needs it now. So you attach it to whatever creature you've got. Yay, I get an amber. But then you can move it over to the right one. And that's pretty gosh darn good. Not to mention the fact that, let's say you've got a bunch of upgrades on one particular creature, you can move Blast Shielding to that creature so that you can then Transporter Platform it back up again. Being able to get an amber and +2 armor is fine. It's not spectacular, it's fine. But being able to move this around as you like brings a whole new dimension to it. I would like to know if the armor resets. i.e., you put it on a creature, use it to fight, lose a 2 armor, and then you move it over. Does that new creature still have 2 armor, or is the armor knocked off? I'm not 100% sure on that ruling. I'd imagine the new creature did get the +2 armor, but it would be nice to have a ruling about that. That's something we're going to have to think about later. Why don't we talk about some creatures? Let's talk about El-Samra. We didn't have any Ensigns in Worlds Collide, so that's quite nice. 3 power, 0 armor. It's got an enhancement on the card. Don't worry about that. It's kind of the thing that this set does. That will not always be on Encinal Samra. But it might be because she comes along with enhance free draw icons. So a draw icon means that when you play the card, you draw a card. And Ensign here will bring in 3 of these. So it may well be that the draw icon from Ensign is on Ensign here. El-Samra's just bringing it with us out, which is nice. Doesn't have to. The rule is, every time you get El-Samra in a deck, it will put 3 of those draw a card icons onto cards in your deck. But they will be thrown around randomly. It might end up on El-Samra herself, or it might end up anywhere else. But the point is, anytime you get this, you will have 3 extra draw icons on your cards. They could all be on the same card, they could all be on separate cards. The only real rule is it's a maximum of 5 enhancements per card, because that is how much physical space there is on the card to fit enhancements. Although I suppose a card that has a natural amber bonus could only have 4 enhancements, because there's only space for 5 symbols. That alone is awesome. But it's got a phenomenal action as well. Reveal a card from your hand, resolve its bonus icons as if you had played it. But you're not playing it. And this is one of those creatures, and we've seen a few of them in the set so far. This is one of those creatures whose usefulness is really, really going to depend on how the enhancements are thrown around in your deck. Because if you've got a creature, or an action, or any card to be honest with you, that's got 3 draw icons on it, then this is action, draw 3 cards. Oh yeah, that's pretty awesome. But it is an action, so you're giving up the chance to fight, you're giving up the chance to reap. This is what you get to do with this creature this turn. That's all you get to do with it. Okay. So it really depends. If you've got a card in hand with a double amber bonus, a capture, and a draw, then this action is gain an amber, one of your friendly creatures captures an amber, draw 2. Yes! All of the yes. But if all you've got is a bunch of creatures with 1 amber, draw 1 card, it might not be as good. Now the other thing to remember is it says a card from your hand, not a Star Alliance card from your hand. So, could be another house. But remember, it's an action, so you're doing it instead of reaping. Anytime you can use this action, you could be reaping. So, cross your fingers. If you can have this come along and one of your cards gets 3 draw icons and your action becomes draw 3, that is a lot different to draw 1 or capture 1 amber. And finally, Subject Kirby. Now, this is one of the more interesting cards that we've seen so far, because, of course, it's Com Officer Kirby. It is literally Com Officer Kirby from the Worlds Collide expansion. You can see as we put the artwork side by side, you're talking, well, might be the same dude, might not. But it looks like they've made him into a fish person. Now remember, we are expecting a fish house in the near future. We've not got a fish house yet, but we've seen enough, like Valucant, for instance, where we know that at some point there is going to be a fish house. And it looks like this is a card where they've turned Kirby into a fish person. 2 power, 0 armor, and when you play fight or reap, you may play a non-Star Alliance creature this turn. So it is very much a weaker version of Com Officer Kirby. You lose 1 power, and you can only play a creature. But then again, Com Officer Kirby could play anything but a creature. Com Officer Kirby could play an artifact, upgrade, or action. Subject Kirby can play a creature. And this is great. It's house cheating. You can play a creature from your hand, even though it's not a Star Alliance card, on a Star Alliance turn. And that could be huge. That could absolutely make the difference. It could be something like Helper Bot, for instance, which would come along and let you play another card. That's just a fun interaction that I would enjoy. It could be something like Time Traveler that gives you an amber bonus and lets you draw 2 cards. Or it might just be something like the aforementioned Cinder. It might be that looking at your hand, you're pretty gosh darn sure that you are going to be playing Dis next turn. It's going to be a Dis turn next turn. So what you do is you play down Cinder this turn, bearing in mind that you know that you make all of your creatures active at the end of your turn. So you play it down now, not really to do anything, but knowing that your next turn means it's going to be active, so you can use it right away, rather than playing it on the next turn and having to wait until the following Dis turn. Also, Cinder's got Taunt, so you could use it to protect some of your creatures on your opponent's next turn. And please bear in mind, this is when you play or fight or reap. So there are absolutely plenty of times here that you are basically going to be able to use this. If you get this creature destroyed immediately, you still used it once because it's a play skill. But if it's not KO'd, destroyed, killed, whatever you want to say immediately, then you get to reap and fight, and then you do it over and over and over again. Constant house cheating. I love me some Helper Bot, but Helper Bot was a one-time deal. I also love that they're bringing back a creature from a previous set in a different way. This is kind of awesome. Probably something to do with that Dark Amber, bearing in mind it is a mutant, so it very much is the Dark Amber version of Com Officer Kirby. Cool. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. These cards look fun. Really fun. Even if Subject Kirby is one of the most terrifying cards I've seen so far, it will give me nightmares. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about these cards, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Keyforge and a whole bunch of other games. And please do make sure you're checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus pods, all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.